I leaned on the balcony of our third-floor hotel room and looked out at the quiet surf. Hawaii, Honolulu, paradise. The hotel was the Monterey Surf. The time was about a month after my college graduation, or a week after my brother's high school graduation. It was a family celebration/vacation. Me, Andrew Mathers, age 23, had just graduated college with a Bachelor of Computer Science, and I already had 2 job interviews lined up for the week we got back home. My brother, Ezra Mathers, age 18, had just graduated high school. We shared a room at home, and we now shared a hotel room. Once the income came in, I'd get my own apartment. Our parents, Peter and Janice Mathers, shared a 2-bedroom suite. The master bedroom for them, the smaller bedroom for our sister, Lanny Mathers, age 14, and her best friend, Clarice Richards. Mom and Dad didn't want Lanny to be alone, so they footed the bill for Clarice. Our folks aren't exactly rich, but we're well off. Dad and Mom wanted this to be the epic trip of all time. I wasn't sure how good it would be with my parents butting into everything that smacked of romance. Still, one last hurrah as a family. In Hawaii. Life at the beach for a whole week. Sun, sand, surf, hot guys, hotter nights. If I can get away from my family, it will be fun. I changed into my newly bought board shorts, tank top, and flip-flops, tucked the room card and my debit card into the liner pocket, grabbed my phone, my sunglasses, some sunscreen, and my towel, and went poolside. After all, they have bright yellow lounge chairs with an incredible view of the beach. Maybe if I'm lucky, I'll scope out the right guy and not come to my room tonight. I'd already set up my voicemail in case my parents called. They always call. And the voicemail was a simple, "I'm on a date, so I will not pick up. Call me later." I took a seat in one of the yellow deck chairs, took off the tank, applied sunscreen, leaned back, and enjoyed the rays. And the view. Guys by the pool were always hot. The beach was nice too. Hot guy alert, gym rat, 2 o'clock. He had oversized arms the size of hubcaps, 8-pack abs that stretched for miles, a tiny white Speedo that didn't cover much, and traps the size of my car. That is one serious steroid head. I listened to his conversation. He spoke in a thick European accent, Norwegian or thereabouts. Abs are the most important thing. I perform 3 types of ab exercises daily, 4 sets, 8 reps, the final set to exhaustion. But I alternate different exercises on a 3-day rotation, in addition to what body part I work out for the day. Feel those abs, ladies. This guy wasn't shy. Of course he had an entourage of women who wanted to run their hands over his abs. Guys with more muscles than brain cells don't do it for me. I closed my eyes, trying to ignore. That is, until the big shadow blocked my sunlight. The Norwegian bodybuilder stood over me, my sister next to him. "Andrew, Lanny," my sister said, "you always said you wanted to work out, so I thought now is the chance. This is Olaf. Olaf, this is my brother Andrew. He just graduated in computer science, but he's only about a 6 or 7 on the cuteness scale. He makes up for it because he's really smart, and he's single." "Hi," I said, a bit confused. "I am not quite understanding," Olaf said. "Are you looking for a personal trainer? Come by my gym, and I will give you a training program that will turn you into a man every woman wants." And Olaf handed me his card. "Except I'm gay," I said, a little more confused. Then my sister said, "I saw the way you were looking at Mr. Muscles. I thought you and Olaf could go out to dinner, have a date, maybe talk about workout programs." "Lanny," I said, "what's the meaning of this?" "It's time you found some romance," Lanny said. "You're graduated now, and you need my help." You are setting me up on a date with your brother? Olaf said. I rolled my eyes, embarrassed by what my sister was doing. Trying to salvage the situation, I said, "This is awkward, Olaf. I didn't know Lanny was doing this. I'm sorry about that." "I am flattered," Olaf said, "but I prefer to date women. Please excuse me." I watched the muscle-bound Olaf walk away and took a deep breath. Muscle-bound jocks that only talked about their workout program didn't do it for me. Turning to my sister, I said, "Thanks, Lanny, for trying, but let me find my own dates. And what did you mean I'm only a 6 or 7 on the cuteness scale?" She pouted for about a half a second before laughing, and she said, "That's why you need my help. I will find someone to make you happy, and you can't stop me either." She walked away, hunting the crowd for eligible bachelors. Great, a teenage matchmaking sister. Just what I didn't need. I packed up my stuff and went down to the beach. The beach wasn't too crowded, so I found a spot not too far from an outdoor bar called Tiki Rum. It's a bit early to drink, but I'm on vacation. A cool rum runner was just what I needed. After staking out my place in the sand, I swam for a few minutes, went back to my towel and drink, and watched the water. I had trouble getting the bartender at the Tiki Rum off my mind. The casual way he spoke made me think he was a surfer, and his hair was naturally lightened by the sun. About my age, too. I'd like to talk to him again. Only problem was the wedding ring. Married guys don't do it for me. "Can I help a fellow with his sunscreen?" A deep, definitely masculine voice said. He had a slight southern accent. The man was older than me, had very minty breath, as if he had popped a half-dozen breath mints a minute before. His receding hairline made me think he was at least 15 years older than me. An older man hitting on a younger guy. Am I being scoped by a chicken hawk? He placed his towel next to mine and sat down. "What kind of sunscreen do you use?" I showed him the bottle, and then he spent the next 10 minutes telling me about the virtues and pitfalls of every brand on the market. I didn't have to say a word, because he wouldn't let me. He volunteered to slather the lotion on my body. I declined. My sister and her friends had landed their towels nearby, and Lanny had this odd, triumphant smile. Then I committed the ultimate faux pas. I accidentally yawned. "You don't have to be rude," the man said, got up, took his towel, and went cruising to another part of the beach. Older guys don't do it for me. A huge look of disappointment crossed my sister's face. I picked up my stuff, wandered over to her, and said, "Seriously, you sent another guy my way? You realize he was much, much older than me." "He seemed okay," my sister's friend said. I sighed and said, "I appreciate what you're doing, but let me find my own dates, okay?" "No," Lanny said. "I'm going to find someone to make you happy, and you can't stop me." "Please don't get involved in my love life," I said, and walked to another part of the beach, away from my sister and definitely away from the chicken hawk. I staked out a new claim about 10 minutes further down the beach. My sister meant well, but she was going to drive me crazy. I finished my drink and enjoyed being alone. There was a cute college-age guy carrying a drink to a woman, his date, no doubt. Another set of guys were playing volleyball. It looked like fun. Maybe I should join them. Another shadow broke my sun. He was skinny, tan, maybe 5 years older than me, and wore oversized, expensive-looking sunglasses. His opening words were, "The beach was pretty boring until I found you." "Hi," I said. Of course, he spread his towel next to mine and then offered me a condom? Seriously? This guy is not subtle, and he did not believe in personal space. He leaned in way too close and said, Names are overrated, and we won't need them. Did anyone ever tell you that you have the nicest cheekbones? So defined, so sculpted, they show off your eyes. No, I said, feeling a little cautious. Nobody has. They are defined, he said, and his odd leer was meant to be sexy. What say we leave this place? My hotel room is well stocked, and we won't be disturbed. What do you say to an afternoon rendezvous with all the frills and no long-term attachments? I promise you that you won't regret it. Oh, lordy lord, where did this player get his dialogue? It didn't take long to spot Lanny and Clarice a bit further down the beach, trying to look like they weren't spying on me. Lanny had set me up again. I turned to the guy and said, "Sorry, I'm not the guy for you." "You don't know what you're missing out on," he said. "The locker room tales you could tell would be legend, and all true." Trying not to roll my eyes for the second time of the day, I said, "My loss." "Keep the prize," he said. "My phone number is on it, in case you need some exercise." I checked. The condom had a little sticker on it with a phone number. Players don't do it for me. Once he moved on, I was getting hungry, so I headed back to the hotel. My sister and her friend followed me. I waited for them to catch up and said, "Let me find my own dates, okay?" "No," Clarice said. "This is fun." "We will find you somebody handsome and rich and," Lanny said. "I don't think so," I interrupted. "Let me find my own dates." I went into the hotel, pretended to enter the elevator like I was going to my room, but snuck out. Lanny needs to leave me alone. I found a small sandwich shack, ordered a pastrami on Italian white, and took my sandwich to a busy spot on the beach. I had just sat down when a man said, "I understand you're looking for a short-term boyfriend. You're in luck. So am I. I'm Can because I can do anything." He was tall, had black eyes, and must have spent a fortune on skincare products because he had flawless skin and pristine hair and clothes straight off a designer showroom. "Hi," I said. Of course, Lanny and Clarice were at a table not far away. How did they find me this time? "Your sister said that you just graduated," he said. "Congratulations. We should throw you a party, but not dressed like that. You look like you never escaped from the dorm room. Can needs to teach you a few things about style. First thing you need to do is let me take care of your hair. It's a mess, and look at all the sun damage and loose ends. I can tell right now that you don't use a conditioner, and you must let me pick out your wardrobe. I know, let's go shopping. I love shopping. You do have a credit card, right?" Oh, brother. Did he only want me to date him so I would buy him something? A quick glance at my sister told me they were listening to every word. I told Can the truth when I said, "I just graduated. I don't have any money." Guys who treat me like their personal ATM didn't do it for me. Before Can could say anything, a lumbering bodybuilder in a skimpy white Speedo sat at the table. Can, what are you doing with Andrew? Is his sister trying to set you two up?" "Olaf," Can said, "however did you know? Andrew and I were having a darling conversation. This poor boy is not using any skin products, and it's a good thing I came along because he is a fashion disaster." "You two know each other?" I asked. "I live about 4 blocks that way," Olaf said, and pointed down the road. "It's a cute high-rise," Can said, and pointed in a different direction. "And I live that way in an old warehouse converted into condos. It has character." "Most of us regulars know each other," Olaf said. "I didn't come here by chance, and it's a good thing you're here, Can. "Oh?" I said. "Bless my soul," Can said. "Finally a man who appreciates me. Too bad you're straight." Olaf whispered, leaning in close so my sister couldn't hear him. "First, Andrew, you will meet me at Trailblazers, the steakhouse about a block from here at 7 tonight. I've made reservations under the name Olive. Before you ask, this is a date, but it's not a date. Then what is it? I asked. A rescue mission, he said. What? I asked. He held up his phone, displaying his phone number. I dialed, he answered. We both had each other's number now. Olive stood up and said, Text me when you're on your way. I will explain at dinner. Can, I need your help. It is an emergency. Fashion things are my thing, Can said. Lead on. Okay, Olive, I said. I'll be there. I went back to the pool, where I had to endure a college jock that had to tell me about how he scored the winning touchdown. Self-centered jocks are not my thing. Then a middle-aged man with a pale wedding ring band on his ring finger, but no wedding ring, who wanted a quick afternoon fling. He was definitely not my thing. And a drunk that was way past one too many. Drunks didn't do it for me either. All were sent by my sister and her friend. The day wasn't a complete loss. At least I had a date that wasn't a date with a straight bodybuilder. My sister had ruined this trip. I walked past Lanny and Clarice. They were so engrossed in some video that they didn't even look up. Curious, I walked behind them to see what they were staring at. Something about dating rich boyfriends and getting showered with gifts. When I got to my room, I showered, found something nice to wear, and because I was a little bored and a little early, I did a search for dating rich boyfriends with gifts. One of the most recent entries was a vlog about a guy dating a wealthy man, and the wealthy man made a good impression on the family by giving them expensive Christmas or birthday gifts. That got me thinking. One of the common thread among the men who visited me today was that most of the men who hit on me had money. At least they looked like they did, especially Can. That man must have spent thousands on his outfit and hair and skincare. And Olaf and his little tiny Speedo, he would look rich because he worked out all the time and spent the day hanging out at the beach. The chicken hawk guy was older, and according to Lanny's logic, richer. The player had worn expensive sunglasses. Lanny didn't care if the guy was way older than me, or what kind of guy I liked. She only cared if he looked rich. Was that my sister's game? Make me date somebody rich so she could get expensive presents? Knowing Lanny, it was dumb enough to be true. What could I do about it? I could avoid the beach and hide in the hotel room. No way. Which meant I could do nothing. Maybe Lanny would actually find someone about my age, knew about computers, liked superhero movies, liked hanging out at the beach, would actually let me talk some of the time, wasn't a kinky pervert, and he would be fun to be around. Doubtful. I spent time styling my hair and choosing the nicest clothes I'd brought, trying to achieve more than a 6 or 7 on the cuteness scale. No matter how much I stared into the mirror, I was not satisfied with the results. Maybe I should have taken Can up on his offer, because I'm sure I didn't even make it to a 7. Too late now. About 15 minutes before 7, I walked to Trailblazer Steakhouse. Near the beach and the hotels during tourist season, the place was jumping. Styled with exotic woods and odd paneling, it was decorated in wood tones and golds with black trim. A live band played country music, and the air smelled heavenly of grilled steaks and French fries. While I waited for the hostess to notice me, I picked up one of the menus. This place was expensive with a capital R-I-C-H. Would I need a loan to eat here? The hostess finally spoke with me. May I help you? My friend, Olaf, has already reserved a table, I said. I'm Andrew. She checked something on the computer before she said, Olaf, party of 3 confirmed. The others aren't here yet. Would you care to wait for them in the bar or be seated? I'll wait for them at the table, I said. 3 people? Me, Olaf, and Can? What would the 3 of us have to talk about? I can pump Olaf about basic workout routines, and Can could give me some pointers about how to be stylish. The hostess led me to a booth near a window. While I waited, I sent a quick text to Olaf. "I'm at the table." His response was, "About 10 minutes out. Order some beers and have the waitress place it on my tab." That was nice of him. This place was so expensive, I needed to keep things cheap. Next time I saw the waitress, I ordered 3 Michelobes. Looking over the menu, I had almost decided between a salad with roasted chicken fingers or a small steak with a side of jalapeno cheesy broccoli. The man that slid into the booth wasn't Olaf. Or Can. In fact, I didn't recognize him at all. Was this stranger the third member of Olaf's party? He also brought his own drink, a purple fruit tingle in a tall cone-shaped glass. He gestured, and the bartender set a second fruit tingle by my silverware. "I'm Clive," he said. "Andrew," I said. The waitress brought 3 beers and set them on the table. I sipped mine, hoping to relax, not touching the fruit tingle. Using my phone under the table, I sent a simple text to Olaf. "Third party is here." His response, "Leaf is with me." Who is Leaf? Now I'm really confused. I took a sip of the beer and said, "Are you with Olaf or Can?" "I don't know these people," he said. "I understand you're looking for a sugar daddy, and I need a cute arm piece for the week, longer if it works out." "Where did you hear all this from?" I asked. "Details are not important," he said. "You'll move in with me, be seen with me, dine with me, we'll do everything together. In exchange, I'll buy you clothes, take you to the nicest restaurants, and show you off at the party Friday night. It's important that you do everything I say when I say it. Understood?" He was about 50, a distinguished-looking silver fox. Where had my sister found this control freak? I politely said, "I don't know where you heard all of this, but you have the wrong information. I'm not looking for a sugar daddy to take care of me and turn me into their puppet. I have too much self-respect for that. Did my sister put you up to this? Tell her that I'm not into older men, and for once and for all, I will find my own dates." The older man tapped the table a couple of times and said, "You will obey me because as a down payment for your services, I will give you this." He presented an oblong jeweler's box. He opened it. A 14-karat Cuban-style gold necklace. It was shiny. It caught the light at all the right angles. The necklace was easily worth 4 figures, maybe even 5. More than my old junker of a car, at the very least. "Do we have a deal?" he asked. What had my sister done this time? I looked around, and my family was dining on the opposite side of the room, and Lanny had a perfect view of me and Sugar Daddy. She was grinning, her eyes wide. Clarice was grinning also. My parents didn't even notice. Once again, I looked at the very expensive necklace. It made me feel unclean. This man wanted to buy me with pretty things. I couldn't say yes, I couldn't say no. Another older guy who wanted to be seen with younger men. Another chicken hawk raiding the chicken coop. But this one was richer and older than the other one, which made him a silver fox raiding the chicken coop. That disgusted me. This isn't what I wanted for my life. Sugar daddy control freaks don't do it for me. The rich guy slid the necklace over to me, and he seductively said, "Put it on. I want to see you in that. And maybe later. Only that." A little bit of fear lodged in my stomach. If I did as he suggested, my life would change. He would own me until he tired of me. What do I do? I screwed up my courage and said, "No, thank you." "Did you really think I was giving you a choice?" he stated. "I'd get even with my sister if I ever got out of this one." A man took a seat to my side and said the very words I was trying to say. "Didn't you hear, Andrew? No means no." Tall, broad-shouldered, he wore a light linen shirt, khaki shorts, and sandals. He spoke in a voice tinged with a Norwegian accent. "I'm very sorry for being late, my friend. Can is a perfectionist." I knew him, but he looked completely transformed wearing clothes. "Olaf?" I asked. Another man was with him, younger, with dark auburn hair newly styled, a nervous smile, and sporting a brand new tweed jacket and khaki slacks. He hadn't shaved for a week or so, and his eyes never left me. "Forgive me for interrupting the conversation," Olaf said, eyeing the expensive necklace on the table. "We have an important matter to discuss with Andrew. Sir, since I reserved this table for 3 and we have business to discuss, you will need to continue your conversation another time. Please, excuse us." Olaf reached out to the jewelry box and closed it. He slid it back to the rich man. "We're not finished, Andrew," the silver fox said. "We are way past finished," I said. "Find another play toy." As soon as the older man left, Olaf and his friend took their seats. A waitress arrived quickly, and Olaf said, "Congratulations on your recent graduation. Allow me to pick up the cost. A prime rib, well done for me, with a chicken cob salad. Leif?" In a hesitating Norwegian accent, Leif said, "I will have the tilapia special, please." "A chicken finger combo, please," I said. After the waitress left, I said, "Olaf, thanks for the rescue. Who is your friend?" "Hi, I'm Leif, Olaf's brother," he said, but his accent was thick. "Please forgive my English." "Hi yourself," I said. Olaf started talking. "I want you to meet my brother. I am not gay, but my brother is. I am not much into computers, but my brother is. You have graduated college with a degree in computer science. My brother did the same a year ago. He arrived in Hawaii 2 weeks ago and lives with me." Leif, in halting English, said, "I want to start my own software business in America. My English is not so good, and I need help because America is very different from where I lived. Olaf tries to help, but he has his own life. He owns a gym and is a fitness instructor." Then Olaf broke in. "Andrew, after I met you, I had a wild thought. You help my brother, he needs a friend. You need a friend. Maybe you two choose to date, maybe not. But from what I've seen, it is a better match than any your sister has set up." I looked over at Leif, and Leif looked at me. Olaf mumbled, "I see someone I know. Excuse me a moment." Leif almost blushed when he said, "My brother cannot be more obvious. This is my first date since coming to America, and I'm very nervous." Leif, about my age, into computers, smart, a little shy. Most important, he had a dream I could understand. This guy did it for me. I leaned over to Leif and said, "So you want to start a business? Tell me about it." Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Olaf walk over to my parents' table to have a little conversation. When my brother started laughing, and my sister turned fire engine red, and Mom glanced my way before yelling at my sister, I knew that karma had caught up to my sister. Maybe I didn't have to get revenge after all, because the embarrassed looks on my parents' faces meant they would take care of everything. Me and Leif, who would have thought? Ever have one of those moments where you just click with someone? Leif and I did. We talked until the restaurant closed, then walked along the nighttime beach and kept talking. We were together for the rest of my vacation. Who could have predicted what life would bring? I never went back to the mainland, but Olaf invited me to share the apartment with him and Leif. A year later, we set up the business Lightspeed Software. Then Leif and I got our own place. It took a lot of work, but Lightspeed took off. So did Leif and me. It might have been 3 years before he proposed, but everything worked out. This man definitely did it for me. The end. Thank you for stopping by my channel, and thank you for listening to the story till the end. I hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next Wednesday. Peace.